Hi, and welcome. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jackie Ives, your host for the Video Summit series, Make Him Fall Madly in Love. 21 experts share keys and tools how to help you attract love, keep it real, and make it last forever. And I'm thrilled today to introduce to you a fabulous expert who's going to share her secrets on how you can attract the love you want in your life. And so I'd like to introduce Susan Bratton. Susan, welcome.
Jackie, I'm so happy to tell you what I have to say today. And I'm excited to tell you how simple it is to change something that could be ruining your relationship that I can change for you in an instant, like magic, which is why I wore my goofy marriage magician little bow tie today, and I brought my little marriage hat. Look at this. This is so silly, but I am sometimes called the marriage magician because I can really help you know if your guy or your woman is the one for you, or how to make the relationship you're in even better.
Awesome. I am so excited. I can't wait to get all of these little relationship magic secrets. I'm dying to know, and so is our audience. Before we jump into the interview, I want to tell our audience a little bit more about you. You've done some wonderful things.
Thank you.
And so you're a champion and advocate for any man or woman who dreams of a fabulous sex life. Yeah. You're an author, award-winning speaker, and a serial entrepreneur. I love that. You teach through your own experience of reviving your own marital passion.
Yeah.
And I think that's so fantastic. And so through Personal Life Media, you have authored 20 books and over 1,000 articles and audio dialogues. Yeah. You've also published a collection of online courses, including your own wildly popular Revive Her Drive.
That's popular.
I love that. And you're also known for your compassion and fearlessness in teaching the fundamental techniques and communication skills that make for crazy good sex.
Yeah.
And we want a little more of that.
I do. You do.
Absolutely. It's very healthy. It's actually extremely important that we have really good, healthy sex lives. Definitely.
Passion and intimacy are a foundation of a rich and healthy and juicy relationship. And for so many of us, we haven't had great modeling. And so though I do teach a lot of techniques, I also teach a lot of communication skills. And what we're going to talk about today is really the number one this is my golden secret. This is my number one most profound, life-changing communication skill that I teach in hundreds of things that I teach and produce and publish. So I brought you the best thing I have, Jackie.
Oh, I'm dying to hear it. So are you talking about the golden rule is the golden rule ruining your relationship?
That's exactly right. Now, the golden rule is probably mucking up your marriage right now, or ruining your relationship, or ruining the relationship you have with people you're dating that isn't going anywhere. So let me explain what I mean by why the golden rule is ruining your relationship. First of all, you've probably heard about the golden rule. It's do unto others as you would have them do unto you, right?
Yes. Okay.
So that actually backfires in a relationship. You do not want to treat your partner the way you want to be treated. And you think, wait a minute, why? You're supposed to do that. Well, actually, what you want and the way you want to be treated is totally different than the way your partner wants to be treated. So if you're doing the things to your partner that are the things you want to get, and that's not their value system, that's not the things they want, then they're like, why are you doing that to me? Like, why are you bothering me with that stuff? And I'll give you a perfect example. My husband's number one relationship value, it turns out, is passion. I'm going to wave my little red panties around. I know you love lingerie, Jackie, because we talked about that. Well, so does my husband. And when we first got together, I really didn't understand how important that was to him. You know, I always thought, well, lingerie, God, it's like, it's just kind of trashy. It's kind of low class. I don't really want to have to put on lingerie for my husband to want to desire me. And then I realized in actual fact, passion being one of my husband's relationship magic words, and I'm going to tell you more about what these are and how you can know what yours are and everything, but I'm giving you an example. He would want to buy me lingerie, and I would be like, I don't know, can I just have a new pair of shoes? And he would be like, well, if they're really sexy, yeah, you know. And what I realized is that that's a value that fits into passion, which is his number one value. He loves it when I prance around in sexy lingerie for him. It makes him so happy. And so when I realized that that was one of his, that actually it was his number one value, was passion, and that one of the ways that he felt like he was in a passionate marriage was if I wore lingerie, then I started doing it for him because I saw how much joy he got out of it. It wasn't important that it wasn't my top value, and it's interesting because over time, oh girl, I have so many drawers of lingerie. I swear to God, my girlfriends come over and they're like, can I look in your lingerie drawers? I just have like drawers of lingerie, bins of sexy shoes, and now I absolutely love it, not only because I know what joy it gives my husband, but because I've learned how much fun it is and how beautiful and appealing I feel, and how intimate that makes it for us. And so the golden rule, if I had just not listened to what my husband wanted, not understood that this was his top value, passionate marriage, and that this was one of the ways that he felt passion, then I would have never known the joys of lingerie. And so that's really the point, is the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, doesn't work in relationships. Sure, of course you treat them well, but what I'm talking about here are, what are the reasons why your partner is even in a relationship at all? What we're really talking about here is, what are the things that make you feel like you are in the perfect relationship? This is your ideal relationship. You can actually uncover very easily what your relationship values are and what your partner's are. Or if you're single, you can know what it is that your future partner is going to need to give you. And you can be very clear with that man or that woman that you're dating. Hey, you know, for me, if I can't have these things, it's just not going to be a good relationship for me. And I want to find out what it is that you need and see if I can give that to you. So this little thing is awesome.
Okay, so basically it's not like the do unto others as you want done to yourself, because they're gonna miss that concept completely. You're suggesting that find out what their relationship values are, let them know what your relationship values are, and then you work on just contributing to those values, that combined value system.
That's exactly right. You get up every day and you focus on your partner's values. I'll give you another example of a relationship value. I like money, Jackie. You already know this about me. I am an earner. It's really important for me. Cash. I want my husband to bring home the bacon, work with me to earn money for our lives. I don't want to be poor. I'm very ambitious. I like to do things that generate income, and my husband is really good at managing our money, paying our bills on time, keeping our burglar alarm in our house, getting my car door for me, making sure I have health insurance. Early on, I said to him, security and financial security and health security are very important to me. And that's the number one thing I want from a relationship. If my guy can't give me security, I do not need to be if I have to do it myself, I'll do it myself. Dude, I don't need you. And he was like, I can do that for you. I will put that as my number one focus. And so his is passion, mine's security. Every day we get up and we focus on giving each other the thing we most need. And we have others, which I can talk about different kinds of relationship values and what are relationship values and things like that. But that's a good example.
That's a fabulous example. Thank you for sharing that. And so what I wanted to ask you is, how do you figure out what your relationship values are?
Yeah. Okay, so I have created a workbook that is called Relationship Values. And now this is a copy. It's not a physical book. You cannot buy this book. This is just for me to show you on video. This is something you just go to the website, and Jackie has a link for you, so you can click on the link and go right here to get it. This is a workbook that you print out from your computer at home, and it explains how values work, and there is a list. I'll show it to you. You get this printed out. Can you see that a little bit? There, how's that look?
That's fabulous.
So
I gotta have it.
I know, because why would you? Now I'm going to tell you how you can do it without getting the workbook. You don't have to have the workbook. It just makes it easier. And then I have this little sheet where you write down, you list all those values that I have in the book that are the ones that are important to you. And the way you do that is you think about past relationships and the things that were really good about them. Those were things where you were getting your values met, and where it was a really bad part of the relationship, you were not getting your relationship values met. The idea is that, and I have studied values. I have studied relationship values. I have made it my business to understand what it is people value in relationship, men and women, single and married, rich and poor, fat and skinny, big and tall, everybody. And there are some basic ones, like, in general, women really value security. We need to be taken care of. It's a very primal desire. But equally as much, a lot of women say they need their freedom. They don't want to be in a relationship where a guy is like holding them back or pressing them down or isn't celebrating their incredible capability and intelligence, you know? And so each person has different things that are really important to them. And what I have you do is I have you ask yourself this question. This is the question that helps you figure out your values. Would I be in a relationship if I couldn't have this? You fill in that blank. What is this thing for you? What are your deal breakers? What are the things that are like total, like, would rather be alone for the rest of my life if I cannot have this thing? Like, rather get up and go to bed every morning by myself if I can't have this thing. For me, security is, like, like, if I can't get that from my partner, I'm going to go on, do it on my own. And there are a lot of things that are deal breakers for people, and they're very individual. Your list and my list are very different. Your list and your partner's list are very different. And so all you do is you come up with a big list of the things that are very important to you, and then you rank order them. Essentially what you do is you say, okay, what are the ones that I absolutely can't live without? Like, what are the ones that I would be willing to compromise on? What are the ones that are nice to haves? And what are the must-haves? And you boil it down to your top 4. Now, what I can tell you about men is that they love a checklist. If you give your guy, babe, every day, just get up and do these 4 things for me. You know, these are the 4 things I need. Your relationship he'll be like, thank God I finally figured it out. Like, guys, they pretty much feel like they live in a series of, like, trial and error that doesn't quite work, and a lot of pointless arguments. They don't know why you're arguing, and they just want a super easy way to just give you exactly what you want. And if you don't know what those things are and you can't tell them, then you guys are just working in the dark, trying to treat each other the way you want to be treated, and you're in a very unsatisfying relationship. So the My Relationship Magic Workbook helps you give you a list, rank order them, come up with your top 4, his top 4, and then, and did you see my ring?
Oh, I love it.
It's a big kiss. I'm like the nerdiest person. I love
it. You are fabulous. You're one of a kind. That makes you feel unique.
The marriage magician. But then you have those 4, and then what you do is you actually very, very sensually describe those 4 things. So, Jackie, what do you think one of your relationship values might be? What's one thing that's really important to you in a relationship?
Honesty and communication. Those are critical.
Honesty. It's interesting that the one thing on my list and my husband's list that is a match is honesty. We were 21 years this month. We'll be married.
Congratulations. That's fabulous.
And it's you saw how cute my husband is. He's
adorable.
But 11 years into our marriage, we almost got divorced because we didn't understand relationship values, and we were doing following the golden rule instead of the platinum rule. The platinum rule is treat your partner the way they want to be treated, and tell them how to treat you the way you want to be treated, right? So we were still living under the golden rule, and we were miserable, and we were thinking about getting divorced. And then we discovered these relationship values, but it was at that point when we were like on the brink of like tearing up our home, and our little girl, when my husband was leaving to go get an apartment, and my little girl was like, "Are you still going to be my daddy? Oh, are you still going to be my daddy?" That's what she said. She was holding her little blankie and standing out front as he had packed up his car and he was driving to an apartment. And I mean, right now, just thinking about it, I have goosebumps all over my body because our little girl almost lost her mommy and daddy together, you know, and it happens so frequently. And we're like, oh my God, and we discovered relationship values. We turned our relationship around, and one of them was honesty. We just started telling each other the real truth. And you know what's interesting about honesty? It's actually admitting to your partner all your pettiness, your jealousies, your insecure, like the stuff you actually think in your mind that you share, but it makes your relationship so juicy. And so honesty is one for us as well. And it's interesting because that's the only one that we share, because it's not about how compatible you are. People get married because they think they're compatible. It has nothing to do with that. You can be wildly different people. If you get up every day and give each other what you want, you feel like you're in the ideal relationship. So for honesty, coming back to your value, Jackie, describe it in very visceral, physical, tangible, sensual, like, well, how would you feel? What would it smell like? What would it taste like? What would it touch like? What would it sound like? If your fiance is honest with you, describe a couple ways that you would know that value is being met, that you could explain to him, honey, do this to me and then I'll know. Tell me that.
Okay, great. That's a great question. First thing that comes to mind is when I ask him a question that he answers me directly and doesn't delay in his response, gives me the information that I need, and then I can tell that he's just really making that connection with me. And then it just affects me on all levels.
Yeah, I have a husband who is a slow thinker. He's brilliant. I mean, his IQ is, the reason my husband answers so slowly when I ask him a question is because he's thinking of like 73 permutations in a three-dimensional array. And so I had a similar thing with him where when I would ask him a question, he wouldn't tell me the answer right away. And so I taught him to tell me the word thinking. So sometimes he'll be like, thinking, and then he'll be as quiet for as long as he needs, but he's acknowledged that I've asked him the question. And so then I know he's heard me and I feel heard, and then I can wait for the answer.
That's so valuable right there, what you just said. My fiance is a thinker also. So one value that we recognize, I know that he needs to think about it, and I don't need the answer right then because he needs to think about it. So I'm willing to allow, I respect that value he has. Allow him to think about his answer, but then I'm being heard, and then he does always get back to me, but maybe not in that moment. And that's okay with me because I know he's going to get back to me. What's another
way that you know that you're in an honest relationship?
Another way that I know that
what can he do to reassure you that you're getting the honesty that you value?
Communication, just always communicating what my needs are, what his needs are, what's going on in our lives. We're constantly communicating and duplicating. I will communicate something to him, and then he'll duplicate back. Let me make sure I heard you, and I got that right. So we do a lot of duplicating to make sure that we understand what each other said, and not what they heard, but what I actually said.
So confirming the clarity of the conversation is really important to you. You not only want to make sure that you are acknowledged and heard, but you want him to repeat things back to you so that you're sure he understands your intention.
Correct. Absolutely. Yes.
Great. So you see how easy this is? Now, you go home and tell him those two things tonight. Tell him honesty is one of your top relationship values. And here are 2 ways that you will feel that you're getting that honesty in your ideal relationship. And he'll be like, okay, babe, I can totally do that.
Oh, I'm going to do more than that. I'm getting the workbook as soon as we get off this call, and I'm going to take it home tonight, and I'm going to have lingerie, and I'm going to get the workbook out. We're going to have fun with that.
You're going to do it in lingerie? That's the best ever.
Yes, because that's one of my values. So I'm going to introduce this to him. Thank you. What a wonderful offering that you're making to women to understand, and men to understand this relationship values. Let me ask you a question. Can single people and divorced people use this relationship value system that you worked out?
Let me take divorced people first. Divorced people need this more than anybody else, because here are the very sad statistics. 50% of first marriages end in divorce. 67% of second marriages end in divorce. And 79%, it might be 75% of third marriages end in divorce. So it goes 50, 67, 75. It gets worse and worse and worse the more times you get married. Now, usually the more times you do something, the better you get at it, but not marriage. And so if you add to that all of the people you dated and never got together with, never ended up, you're at like 99% of all relationships fail. When I got an email from a guy who wrote me a year ago. I work with a lot of married men. That's a real core constituency of my business at personallifemedia.com. Remember, you mentioned Revive Her Drive. That's for men in relationship who have lost that sexual spark with their wife, and they know it's their job as the masculine leader to bring the sizzle back. And so I work with a lot of guys. I got an email from Ken about maybe like 3 weeks ago, and he said, a year ago I wrote to you and my wife had cheated on me, and you said, and I was thinking I better divorce her, and you said, whoa, wait a minute, obviously she wasn't getting a need or some of her needs met, and what you need to do is take this workbook, because originally I had this just within Revive Her Drive until I brought it out as my Relationship Magic product, and he took that workbook and I said, put your anger and you're upset aside, and remember that she didn't do it to you. She didn't want to hurt you. She was not getting something that she desperately needed. That's all that was. And he did the workbook with her, and he found out her values. She found out his values. And he was writing to me 3 weeks ago that he wrote a year ago, and I told him to do that. And he said, we did our relationship values. I immediately understood what it was I hadn't been giving her. She understood that she hadn't communicated it. She didn't have the words to express what was missing. And the only thing she knew was that there was something interesting and that looked better elsewhere. And when I started immediately meeting her relationship values, our relationship completely turned back on. And we have never been, I get goosebumps again. I love this job. I swear to God, I'm getting goosebumps again. He's like, we have never had a better marriage than we do right now. And I just had to write to you. And I was like, oh, my work is done here. I can go home for the day. I got to go in the hot tub and have a beer now. You know, this is just, it's just the most rewarding thing. So if your marriage is on the rocks, if you don't feel like you're in the ideal relationship, if you're not completely satisfied by your relationship, figure out your relationship values and your partner. Sit down and do the workbook, do the exercise, come up with all your values, rank order it down to 4, explain them in detail like Jackie, you did for me right on this call, like what are the ways that you'll know you're having it. Tell your partner how you want it, you know. Passion can be anything. I mean, passion could be, you know, what my husband likes is I come and I sit on his lap naked before I get dressed, and he just likes to feel me up in the morning before I put my clothes on, you know. That's the easiest thing in the world for me to do, and that makes him deliriously happy. I would have never thought about that unless he gave me those very specific things that make him feel like he's in a passionate marriage. So for divorcees, don't screw it up again. The odds are against you. Get really clear, and then this is what you do for singles. For the singletons, this is just going to improve your chances of having that ideal marriage or ideal relationship, because you're going to be able to go, look, there are just a couple of things you need to know about me. This is what I need to be happy. And I want to be really upfront with you that what I need is, security, freedom, family values. I need to have humor. I need to have, there's a lot of values.
What about for singles? So what?
And for singles, you know then what you're looking for, and you tell a prospective partner what your values are, and say, could you give me this in these ways? Could this is the key to my happiness. Are any of these a deal breaker for you? Like, no, I absolutely will not, do this thing for you. And then and then you can practice seeing how getting your needs met for each other is working, and whether you start off on the right foot together. So it's great for singles, great for people on the rocks, great for people who already have a great relationship and want to make it even better. I mean, it really works for men, for women, like I said, all ages, and sometimes relationship values do change, but you probably have more questions for me, so I'll stop there and you can ask me the questions.
Well, what are the top relationship values that you've come across and that you find that are the most important and critical? Or maybe you said your husband and you have one in common. Is that a common scenario, or just throw out some values for us?
Sure. I'll just look in my book and throw you out some values. So everybody's are different. There's usually none or one that are the same with a couple, because it's not about being compatible. It's about understanding each other's values. So I would say some of the big ones that I see most often are things like faith. People who are faith-based, who really want to be in a relationship with someone who supports their faith. That's a common shared value. Adventure, excitement, freedom, independence, playfulness, spontaneity, that whole category that I call adventure, fun and adventure. For men, that is on a lot of men's lists. They want that, what you would call recreational companionship. Passion is equal to men and women, whether that's called affection or friendship or dedication or intimacy or respect or sensuality or sexuality or harmony or companionship. That whole cluster of intimacy, that ends up on men and women's lists a lot. Acceptance, affirmation, encouragement, belonging, connection, communication, honesty, that cluster. And that is, different people like different words. One, you might say honesty, or you might choose communication. They might be slight variations for a different person. It's similar but slightly different, because that's when you get to that next piece of relationship values, where you're actually telling your partner how it tastes, sounds, smells, feels. How you actually physically embody the experience within your relationship. It's no good to just say communication's my top relationship value. Like, that is no help to your partner at all. It's like you said, I like it when my fiance repeats back to me what I said, so I know he heard my intention. That's when you get really good at making your partner feel excited. So those are some.
So let me ask you this. Your concept of it, it's not about compatibility, it's about values. I think that's brilliant. What created that breakthrough for you, or when you had that awareness and were able to take it to the next level and educate all of us? Because I think you are completely spot on with that.
Thank you. Well, there's just a big difference between compatibility. We both like, frozen yogurt, and we both like to live in California, versus I deeply require complete and total honesty in my relationship, or I feel unsafe. I want to know the worst, and I can handle it. And there is no thing you can tell me that would ever make me stop loving you. The only thing that would make me stop loving you is if you stop telling me, And so we just figured it out. We just got clear on it and started to understand it, and I started to explore values and write the book, and really as I built out the Revive or Drive program, and I worked with thousands of men in relationship, I realized how I had no idea how much dudes need a checklist. Men in general, and this is stereotypical, and I apologize for that, but in general, through my experience of working with thousands and thousands of men, if you give them a little list to work with, they feel so much more solid in their ability to deliver to you the incredible love and pleasure that they want you to feel when they're with you. And so that's how we discovered it, just through, going through our own issues and having to get really real with each other, because we had so much to lose.
Yeah, I love the list concept. I do well with lists as well.
Yeah, me too.
I'd love to hear about you're offering a wonderful free gift to our audience. Tell me a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So if you go to Jackie's link, which I've made specially for her, that will probably be where, by this interview and a couple of other places, you will go to the Relationship Magic webpage. And when you enter your email address, I am going to send you a series of emails with a series of stories about married and single people who have used and figured out their relationship values, what those values were for them, and why that transformed their experience. Because a lot of times I think one of the things that I do most often is I give people options and ideas they never considered for themselves. I hope that in the conversation that we've had today, that as you're watching this, you're feeling this excitement about knowing what your values are and getting really clear about them. And when you go to this page, you're going to get stories from me in email. Like every 2 or 3 days, you'll get an email. You can opt out at any time that it's no longer serving you. But it's nice to get a sense of, like, Ken's story is in there as an example, and what different people's values are and why they're their values and how they experience those values. And a lot of times you'll read it and you'll be like, oh, passion, wow, I never thought about lingerie. Oh, I never thought about sitting on my husband's lap naked in the morning for a second while he could feel me up. Boy, I bet he'd really like that. So there's a bunch of ideas in there where you're like, I'd like to have that. I'd like to have that. I'd like to have that. And so a big part of it is like the permission to say what you want and to hear how other people who've given themselves that permission have ended up having a seriously off the hook, wonderful relationship that suits them to a T. And so that's what the free gift is. It's just a series of stories of other people and how they used relationship values. And of course, the book is there too if you'd like to download. It's very inexpensive. I practically give this book away. And remember, it's a download. You can get it immediately. It's not something, remember, this is only my copy. You don't get a book in the mail. This is not coming to you. It's not a physical good. You're actually going to download it immediately, and you're going to have it. You can print it out. You can print out the worksheets. You can fill it out. It even shows you like different ways you can approach your partner about it, how you can turn it into something you do together as like a really fun thing. So there's a lot of extra, kind of fun parts to the book in there. But it's only 20 pages or something. It's very, very short, super easy. So you can literally print it out today and do it with your partner tonight, or do it for yourself tonight, and then you'll have that information for when you're dating. I can see this going on dating profiles. Online dating is the way to go these days. And if you're really that clear, like this is what I need in my relationship. A lot of guys, if you're a single woman and you put that on your relationship, look, these are my things I need in a relationship, whether we're dating or getting married or whatever. This is my bar. That'll weed out people who are going to be your time wasters and get you the kind of men or women that are like, boy, I'd love to give you that,
Yeah, I just love listening to you talk. The offerings you made are so incredible. I love the way you're approaching it with the real world examples. I think that people really can grow and learn from watching and hearing about other people's struggles and how they overcame them, because it applies to our own lives. And so when we hear about other people and their experiences, we have a deeper understanding of what everybody else is faced with. And also your Relationship Magic book. I can't wait to grab that. Thank you so much, everybody. definitely grab that ebook and get to work on that tonight, like I'm going to do. Your enthusiasm is so contagious. You're so passionate about what you do. You've offered some incredible, really critical information that I'm going to apply right away. And I know our audience is going to benefit greatly from this.
I'm so happy.
What you bring to the table, and I'm just so grateful that you were here today. And our speaker, you're definitely an expert in this field, and a lovely, lovely woman. I so enjoyed you.
Thank you, Jackie. It is my pleasure. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to tell more people about relationship magic. It is such a game changer for people. And I love, you know what I love? I love tricks and techniques that are like one simple thing you can do to have this massive transformation. I don't want to go to some like 15-week thing that's going to rip my guts out and put me through the ringer and like make me get sick and, you know, like, I just want like easy stuff. So that's what I search for.
Absolutely, and you know what? It should be easy. It shouldn't be hard. And I know that these keys and tools that you're providing do and will make it easy, because relationships don't need to be that hard. Just getting the right information at the right time and really applying it in your life and taking action to make your relationship better.
Yeah.
And so I want to thank you again for being here on our summit today. And it's been a pleasure having you. And thank you all for showing up for our Make Him Fall Madly in Love video summit. And we'll see you again real soon. Take good care. Bye-bye.
Oh, like this.